Doctor Who, Prisoner of the Daleks by Trevor Baxendale, read by Nicholas Briggs. It was a forgotten world. On the very edge of explored space, the planet resembled little more than a speck of dirt floating between the stars. From the surface of this world, the nearest sun was visible only as a distant blue glow on the horizon. The planet existed in perpetual dusk. It had once been inhabited by men intent on pushing back the dark boundaries of the universe. The planet had been a useful staging post between the old worlds and the distant, uncharted stars beyond. The debris of men impatient to be gone littered the dusty surface. Empty prefabricated buildings, corroded machinery, plastic components brittle with neglect. The computers lay dormant, their purpose lost in shadowy, offline sleep. But even a remote and unremembered place can become important, if only to those who visit. There was no wind to trouble the dust that had settled over the ages, but at a secluded point in the middle of the abandoned central structure, a breeze appeared from nowhere. Scrubby little weeds, struggling through the cracks in the paving stones, shivered and withdrew. A sudden, wild noise reverberated from the walls of the surrounding buildings, reaching a crescendo of wheezing and groaning as a tall, blue box surged into existence from nowhere. The TARDIS doors sprang open, and the Doctor leapt out, thoroughly annoyed. "All right, that's it," he yelled. "I've had enough. What's got into you?" The TARDIS made no reply. The Doctor shoved his hands into his pockets and thrust out his bottom lip. "You've been acting all funny since we left Earth. What's the matter? Bit of grit in the old dimensional stabilizers? Broken sprocket on the relative time filter?" Still no reply. The Doctor sighed. "You're costing me a fortune in repairs, you are. How can I be expected to run a classic TARDIS if it keeps jumping time tracks every time it lands?" Gradually, the Doctor seemed to become aware of his surroundings, as if the silence had politely and impossibly cleared its throat. He turned on his heel. His canvas trainers were already covered in dust. He let his gaze wander around the empty buildings and crumbling machinery, and then sniffed. "So, where are we?" he wondered aloud. "And is there really any point in talking to myself?" He shot a black look at the TARDIS, and then closed and locked the door. "You can't even bring me anywhere interesting anymore," he grumbled. Then he relaxed a little and smiled, giving the police box an affectionate pat. "Who am I trying to kid? There's always something interesting." He wandered down a path between two prefabs and called out, "Hello!" a few times. "Anyone home?" There was no reply. "Hello!" he called again. His voice came back to him in a mocking echo. Above him, beyond a thin grey mist, was nothing but deep space and a distant neutron star. "Phew," he said, wishing he'd stopped to collect his coat before leaving the TARDIS. He trudged on until he found a steel podium pitted with corrosion, supporting an old scratched monitor screen. He pressed a few buttons on the keyboard, but nothing happened. He tried giving it a whack with the flat of his hand, but it still wouldn't respond. The sonic screwdriver broke through the computer terminal's dormant status in seconds. A minute later, the Doctor's face was bathed in a cool light as the screen activated. Rather fuzzy graphics swirled into focus. "Welcome to Lodestar Station 479. "Well, thank you very much," replied the Doctor. "Lovely to be here." Not. He put on his glasses and started scrolling through the data.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?